I'm Daryl Smith. At this time, I'm 37 years old. The story I'm about to tell you is a true story. It really happened to me 9 years old. I was in Kansas City, summer of June, 1983. I was in Kansas City with my grandma and my mom. My grandma's was a very important person in Kansas City. She's a pastor. So when this happened to me, so it was really national. She still has a newspaper article. But let me tell you my story. When I was 9 years old, I was abducted, taken away from my grandma's house. Was gone missing for 2 days. Really don't remember from the 2 days until I woke up. Life stories and things people try to make me not believe what happened to me. But 48 hours after I was abducted, I heard before I was taken. I heard a loud boom sound. It's like you could hear it it was just a boom, like something was blowing up or coming down real fast. And then I heard it again, and I was hearing a recorder of my life going in my head, playing over me, telling me who I was, telling me I was Daryl Smith, the age I was.
Is that before the boom, or was the boom the last thing you remembered?
The boom was the last thing I remember. And then I started to hear the voice of me telling me who I was, how old I was, where I was from. It was like seeing my life over. Being from the time I was a baby until I was 9 at that present time, and still seeing what was to go on as time progressed. And then the next thing I remember is the old smelly breath of an old man bending over me. And I could see I could hear him. I could hear everything he was kind of saying, but I was saying because my whole body was paralyzed. I couldn't move nothing. Everything was an echo to me.
Like sleep paralysis?
Yeah, so like I was still sleeping. I could see everything around me, but I couldn't move. It was really freaky.
And is it documented when the police got his report? Was that the 48-hour report?
Yeah, my mom made the police report because it was early in the day. I remember because I was waiting to be able to go down the street to the store. This little corner store. I used to love this little corner store, but it didn't open until 9 o'clock, and it was already early. I still had about an hour or so to go. I know because I remember I was still out there playing with my G.I. Joes, because I can never forget this, because I was always a G.I. Joe fan. I was outside playing with my G.I. Joes, and I was making, a kid, 9 years old, making the G.I. Joe, Then I really heard, and I heard that big, so it made me turn, didn't see nothing, and then next thing I know, I heard it again, and then I remember just hearing the recording of my life, and it's that weird feeling like I couldn't move. I just couldn't move. I just remember just hearing all these different things about my life in my head. It's like it seemed like it was playing in my head, but it was like it's on a loudspeaker. It was like being in a concert. That loud echo. If you're not right up on the first row, if you're in the,
And you can't really hear people around you talking.
yeah, you can't really hear you overpowered. It's like my voice, or it wasn't even my voice. It was my telling myself about things that happened to me, but in a weird, I'm not gonna say it wasn't a human voice, but it wasn't a voice that I would recognize.
I've never heard that before, but did it sound like an operator?
Kind of like, yes.
Doing a check point, kind of just going over
somebody telling you about a certain, not even a narrator.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A narrator telling me my life, but it was over like, it sounded like a loudspeaker, and next thing I know it, I have this smelly man bending over me, and I could see him and remembering the smell off of him, and because I couldn't remember nothing but the smell from the time I.
So that means he wasn't taking advantage of it because if you only remember the smell of his breath, then that's all he was doing to you was talking to you. You're like, are you okay?
Yeah, he was, and that's exactly what he was asking. Are you okay? Are you okay, young man? And I remember I couldn't say nothing. I couldn't move. I just kept on hearing the echo, and I really couldn't really move or nothing until like the police came and identified, saying this is a young man we're looking for. How did he end up over here? Asked me a lot of questions. Did I run away? Did somebody did somebody remember? Do I remember somebody snatching me? And truthfully, all I remember is that sound, and I didn't tell my mom after the police let me and my mom leave from the hospital. And she asked me this, do you remember anything? I said, Mom, I didn't run away. I promise I didn't run away. Because, you know, the first thing the doctor said, me being my age, it could have been, I could have ran away and got lost. But, like, yeah, it took hours for the drive, and like my mom said, it's impossible for him to walk that far or in his sleep. So the deputy, I remember the deputy's name, Kenneth, because he was real cool deputy. He's a younger guy. He says he's the one that gave me the scientist.
From Kansas City.
Yeah, the Kansas City scientist at the University of Kansas City. He's a science teacher. His name is Gilbert. Real cool cat.
Do you remember his last name?
No, I don't remember his last name. He never told me his last name. Real cool guy. The deputy gave me this. Actually gave my mom the guy's name, and said he's pretty good in this area of what this young guy believed could have happened himself. But you know, in a town like that where we was in Kansas City, Missouri, certain things you can't say and talk about in the country, as we was to find out. So my mom took me to a psychiatrist. Firstly, she was young, kept on telling me that, you know, it was different things. I was having. I'm not gonna say it was nightmares. I was just having real weird dreams that I was.
Somebody fucked with you.
Yeah, that I made it out. That was suppressing what happened to me on my missing time of being away for 48 hours. But
some hippie farmer decided to team up with your mom and say, hey, how about 48 hours after I kidnap your son, I report him being found in my...
but
that's not evidence. Then people are just ignoring what happened to you. I mean, don't you? I mean, you had to. It probably disturbed you for a long time.
It still does. But the biggest thing that the scientist says, the thing that intrigued him was that the fact that I was found in the middle of a crop circle. For me being in the middle of this man's farm, and if he was able to see where I was located at, you would understand that there was no way I could have walked in there by myself without being frightened. Being 9 years old is.
Then I'm sure if you were sleepwalking,
Yeah.
somebody would have grabbed you.
Yeah, exactly.
Stopped you from doing whatever the fuck you were. When you were 9 years old, you're from the city. I mean, I don't think that's scary to the people.
But so I talked to Gilbert, the scientist at the University of Kansas. He was very intrigued about the fact that I was missing for the 48 hours without no memory of what happened. Me being found in the middle of the crop circle by the farmer, and the farmer doing his what you call it, with this big tracker that's coming by, grading up the corn, and he was, I don't know if it was even corn or whatever they do, but. And the funny thing about it is the only thing I remember is the smells around me of the time firm, the time. I've seen the farmer, the smell of his breath, with just like I could see, like my smelling and my senses were so in height that everything around me I could smell and feel. It was a weird feeling for the first.
Kind of like being high off of acid,
Yeah, kind of like being, off of some kind of acid, where your body, every sensor, it seemed like all my sensors was extra height.
stuff that's different than it.
And even the ride back to from the farm to the hospital and into the hospital in Kansas. The whole ride, everything sound, it was like I feel like I was taking it in at a different speed. It seemed like
Senses were
amplified. But as my senses was amplified, but everything around me seemed to still going slow, like I was still in that state where I couldn't move really, as like I was in a sedated state where I was still coming out. Like when you go to the doctor and you take, you're coming out of a surgery and you're kind of drowsy and everything. You can hear everything real good and feel everything and taste everything, but your movement is, you still feel like you're in a slow movement. But when I got to the doctor and they put the wood stick in my mouth to check me and doing these different tests on me to make sure I wasn't on drugs, or if I had any type of drugs in me, if I've been drugged, if I've been abused by anybody, and everything came up negative. So the doctors referred my mom to the lady counselor of the doctor, because they felt that I ran away. So a protocol for a missing child, for being gone as long as I was.
They failed to acknowledge the fact that you were down in the crop circle.
And they looked over everything that was important in the whole investigation. It's more like he ran away. So going through the motions, people telling me that I ran away. Nothing happened to me. Nobody kidnapped me. There was no evidence of nobody kidnapping me off my porch. Nobody seen me be kidnapped or dragged away to a car. So they ruled that out. They ruled the fact that I was what everybody feels that happened to me, that I was abducted. They swept it under as me being crazy and my mom feeding into my emotional distress or whatever happened to me in this length of 48 hours of me not being. Saying she was feeding into what I felt was going on, that she was not, she was nurturing an untrue statement, because this could not happen, it's impossible, because aliens don't exist. It was the fact that there's no only explanation that everybody could come up with is that the fact that this 9-year-old kid, skinny, I wasn't one of the big kids, but I was pretty active, but I didn't know how to drive. I'm 9 years old and too far for me to walk in that time length. It would have been lost. It's just it's an impossible state. Yeah, because you have to, even have to get to this part, you have to be on the highway to get to this part of the woods. It's in the dirt road, and even my mom said it had to be something more. My grandma, because the lady, she is a pastor, she fully believed that was not the case either, but made it even harder to speak about it because everybody made me seem like I was crazy.
That's what's crazy about, with all due respect to your grandmother, but to the religious viewpoint is that they believe in an alien is satanic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jesus is an alien. Like, he was born out of a virgin.
Yeah, exactly.
People have to follow a UFO. And I don't understand why the religious right is against this. You would think there would be more. You could look at something.
I got it. But
Your grandmother has the newspaper article?
yeah, she did. That's why she, because after Gilbert, the scientist at the University of Kansas City, started doing his investigation of, he calls it a phenomenon. He got the newspaper involved about because the whole thing, it's the shape of the crop circle. It was trying to figure out how it was done because kind of the details in this circle was just what he says is you just can't burn out, or it was just too many perfect angles and movements for it to be just somebody making it themselves and putting a young kid into the side, because in the middle of it was just the exact fitting of my body size. So if you was to lay me in the middle of the crop circle, it's like I dropped into the middle of it, like I was the middle of the crop circle. So that's what really intrigued him about it. What made him want to talk to me more about it. He wanted to do a couple of tests and things.
He didn't make you feel crazy.
He kind of gave us some answers that people would say it was crazy, even for my mom, because my mom's still young. At this time, she's kind of young herself, so she's not really closed mind. So she still had her beliefs of what happened, because it's, like she said, it's just not easy to explain that.
Was it her mom's? The pastor?
Yeah, it's her mom.
So that would definitely make anybody grow up with an open mind.
Yeah. So she's like, well, taught it the more she wanted to know what other possibilities were out there that could have happened to me. So when we talked to Gilbert, it was an easier conversation for my mom to be able to open up her feelings to what could have happened, as well as not feeling like I'm crazy and I'm nurturing my son's fantasy, which is really in the back of her mind. She believed it could have happened to me too, and she just wanted to know why they picked me.
She's spectating to make sure it isn't happening.
And she just wanted to, So when we started talking to the scientists, it was more him explaining this whole UFO being things that, seeing UFOs, the true nature of aliens.
They're in the Bible. They're called watchers in the Bible.
And that's exactly what he told me. It's about. He says you're at a perfect age for them to want to use you as a vessel to watch the world, as he was saying. And he said he asked me what did I remember, if I remember any different kind of sounds around there, and I told him about the whole my life seemed like it was being played on a loud speaker, like I was in a concert, and with that found sound. And he's like, that was what he said, it was recording. He's saying that it was being recorded like records, being a part of their records of their knowledge. You're a part of their record of knowledge. So what you heard was them going, recording your life into their records. He said a couple of times. He said a couple of people he done talked to that have been in situation that I have. He said, but you're the first I ever found or even witnessed hearing that being in the crop circle. He said, when I investigated the crop circle, the most amazing thing to him was the body shape of a young kid's body shape in the middle of the circle.
So the center of it was a body shape.
It was actually my body shape.
That was your body shape, so you were lying kind of like a snow angel.
Yeah, like a snow angel. It was like and it was a big circle, and that's why.
So the watchers, I don't want to call them angels, but they basically said, we're here, and people still
denied, or try to say it was some kids playing around and making a joke. It was a joke, and that I ran away. But the thing that sticks in my head the most is remembering the lights, the different blinking lights. Because every time, sometimes I still have the dream of just the blinking lights and different voices. It's different kind of voices. It's not like our voices. It's just like being in a foreign country with a bunch of foreign people talking different languages. But it's a whole bunch of different voices and lights. It's in the dream. It's just voices and the lights. It's like not English voices, not even Spanish voices that you even recognize as different. It seemed like it was a different language, but in different edibles. It's not even creepy. One would say it was creepy. It sounded like soft but different kind of high-pitched languages. It's like not even digital. It sounded like not even digital. It's more like harmony. Harmony sound like chant, like somebody was chanting, like a choir, but different rhythms of people's, like different people's voice. Like we had different voices, but it wasn't our kind of like our voice. It was different harmonies of voices, but it was like they were speaking English or Spanish or German. It was like a different language, but in a harmony that it, like a lullaby. And it was the lights of just like, it seemed like the lights were going into harmony like it was like a harmony, like the lights were going with the harmony. It was a little bit more, it was like so you remember like in the old Roman days where they had chants when the princess or the pharaoh came through, and it seemed like they was all in sequence, but they all had a different part of the chant.
So was it really beautiful music?
Yeah, kind of like that. Like, not even like, I don't want to say elevator music, because the elevator sound is like your, because being a 9-year-old kid, and for it to be so soothing, it was more like a lullaby to me that, from your mom, to soothe you, like to calm you down from something, like you being scared of something, or, yeah, it's like, but it was a real soothing, like, it was not like even a choir. It was not even like a choir melody. It was more like Mary Poppins, perfect for example, flying through from yeah, and she leaving that perfect melody of happiness. Yeah. So then when I remember waking up to this smelly breath, all that, it would seem like it was gone, and that's all that, because that's where the sense of the smells was able to come, is because I remembered that piece of that melody, that sound, and then suddenly I smell this fucked up ass, excuse my language, smell, old man with the smelly ass breath that made you want to just throw up, and this way he smelled like he haven't took a bath forever, and that smell, that dirtiest, that smell just was in my senses. Yeah, and all day, and it was sick to me, and even the taste of the wood stick they put in my mouth to check my mouth, that taste of that wood was so rich and so fine in my mouth as I tasted it. It was so unreal. It was.
So it was the watchers, the Indians, along various everywhere, they walked on things, kind of blessed you with their abilities. Like do you think they made you feel, I'm not talking about the whole event and the rest of your life, but do you think that they did this to you for your own good? Well, this is probably the last question. Do you feel that they were doing this for their own good, or do you think that they? See, I think that.
I don't think, to tell you the truth, I don't think it was there to harm me, or less to understand me. That's what I'm saying. At that time, I never remember feeling. I really don't remember nothing. But I never felt that whole time that I was in danger. And not even when I woke up and smelled this old man's stinky breath, I never feel like I was in harm. It was the melody that woke from that melody into the stinky breath. Cause I just remember the lights and the music. So I even told the police all I remember is the music and lights. And the lady said I could have been at some carnival. I was but it was not that kind of music. It was music of somebody trying to soothe you, like you were being like somebody. Like you wanted to be soothed by somebody, somebody's trying to calm you, let you know things was okay, or you're.
Was she acting like she was trained how to deal with people who tell her the same shit that you tell her? Like she's already planned out what she's gonna do to throw you off.
Yeah.
To save you, I was like, dude, it's really sick.
Like said to the lady, because my mom, one time, the lady told, because it used to make me, because this is a whole, it fell out to be a whole that my mom, I ran away, and it causes a lot of drama and stuff with my mom, having to go prove that she was not abusing me, and there's a lot of this shit happening because of this. So they made my mom feel like her speaking about it. If anybody heard her speaking about that, she felt that I was abducted. She was neglecting her child, her parent right. But
it's kind of like if you was in the 40s or the 50s and you brought home
a black guy,
exactly,
and he was a white girl,
yeah,
he would get killed.
Just
He'd be lynched. Same thing. So the lady told my mom that she was nurturing my fantasy of me repressing what really happened to me. First thing the lady said that the old man could have did something to me, but like the police said, there was no evidence of nothing that he had any involved in. You know, yeah, and it's just like, and like I told the police, I've never seen. He didn't do nothing to harm me. At that time, he helped me up, tried to help me up, and I still feel like I was paralyzed. Even him trying to help me up, I just feel like I couldn't move.
When did you stop communicating with that scientist?
I left Kansas, and this is why I left Kansas. A year, and we'll say a year and a half after the abduction, I was found in my mom's friend's house that lived like 3 blocks away from our house, sweating, but they said I was still in a sleep state, but I was sweating and his eyes were still open. But I was found at my mom's friend's house after I was laying and sleeping in my room, but found at her friend's house in their basement. Not even freaked out, but I was in a frozen state, and they said feel like I was still asleep, but my eyes were wide open, and I was having these where at times I would wake up and be somewhere else that I wasn't. When I went to sleep, I'd be in my bed or somewhere. I might wake up in my bathroom or in the basement of my grandma's house or in the backyard. But my mom with me, because I never had that. That's the thing. I never had that problem of sleepwalking. None of that never was an issue in my whole life. And until after this happened, it wouldn't happen like every day. It would only happen on certain. It only happened a year.
Did you sleepwalk, or do you think that you were abducted just put that girl in your mom's basement, and this is just another
reminder where I was? Yeah, it was because it's never me feeling walking 3 blocks away, sleepwalking cars at busy streets. These are the things that my mom is elements. Is what makes her think that something was happening to me, unexplainable, because people saying you're sleepwalking, you're walking across, or in Kansas City, busy city, everywhere there's a major street, there's cars coming late at night, a kid walking, sleepwalking at that, and could get hurt. You wouldn't make it in somebody's basement. The house is locked up. It's just different kind of scenarios that my mom and people that was open to believe other things that was wanted to believe. Grandma thought I was possessed. Because and that's the reason why we left Kansas City, because my grandma had this whole notion that I was possessed, and
why did she keep believing that?
Because something that she felt that happened to her after we left that made her kind of think that this could have happened.
Why is that? I guess.
She sat down with Gilbert, had a talk with him, and he was doing documentaries on some of these phenomenons. That's how he likes to call them. And she showed him the crop circle from an overview of the crop circle from a helicopter. And he says, he showed her, and that's what the purpose of these people are. He says, if you look at this, my grandma's name is Patsy Person. If you look at this Patsy, you could tell that this body inside this crop circle is your grandson's. This is where he was laying at. He's not, I don't believe he's not possessed or nothing like that. But there's other things, and she showed him a documentary about some of these people that had the same encounters that I did, with being gone for the same 48 hours and being returned on that same 48 hours, and being found by crop circles.
I don't think I've ever had anybody else in my studies. I don't think there's been a correlation between crop circle and abduction. There's flying saucers.
And that's what he said. Fuck, it was a phenomenon that it was a crop circle with me in front of, and found in the middle of this, in the center of the crop circle. And when doing more investigation of it, it was a print of a body, a small body. And I was a little skinny guy, so I was not a big kid. At 9 years old, I was too big. But
look hard enough, I might be able to find that crop circle. Like, I'm sure, is it still there?
I ain't been to Canada since after that day, cause yes.
I'm sure the farmer things are if he's still alive or whatever.
Yeah, he was kind of old then. I'm 37. He was kind of old then. I don't know. But you know, these days, my grandma, she's old. Yeah, cause
she decided that it happened to you after.
She called this. It kind of like drew a wedge between my grandma, my mom, and me, because me and my grandma was real close. I felt that being as young as I am, I still at this time until I probably, to be honest, when I was 12 years old, it probably what changed me is when I realized that this is what really happened to me is when I had a dream that was really not a dream. Is that I was standing outside and I looked up and I heard that pop, and when I looked up and I seen the lights of the ship standing